Good day to you people of the internet. My name is Trey, and welcome to the latest episode of the Maxwell and Trey Show. And now, as you may notice, we are missing a core member of the cast here, that being Maxwell himself. But today I decided I would take matters into my own hands. Today we're going to be shaking things up a little bit, and we're going to be speed running the blind. By the way, I haven't read any of this before. We're going to be speed running the Fanboy and Chum wiki entry on Kyle. So I'm gonna start this stopwatch, and I'm gonna read. Okay, so the rules are: I have to read all of the main information. I don't have to read any of the island text or the quotes. Well, suppose I should read the memorable quotes list, but I'm talking about the floaty quotes. If you looked at it, you would understand. All right, so I'm gonna start the stopwatch in 3, 2, 1. Kyle Bloodworth-Thomason could be a preteen wizard that may or may not loathe Fanboy and Chum for their lack of intelligence, but this theory has never been confirmed. Background: Kyle has previously lived in England, where he attended the wizardry school Milkweed Academy. However, he was expelled when he turned his teacher, Professor Flan, into a literal raspberry flan. He now attends Galaxy Hills Elementary School, where he befriended Fanboy and Chum. More recently, Kyle tries to get readmitted to Milkweed Academy, and although he never seems to be able to do this, he soon realizes he has real friends, and Galaxy Hills is a true home to him. Depiction in the series: Kyle is a young wizard who was expelled from Milkweed Academy for wizards. He now has to attend normal public schools like the other kids. Even though he has powers that include levitation, Fanboy and Chum used to assume that Kyle was pretending and did not believe he had real powers. He's the second eldest of Fanboy's main group of friends, and the only one with braces and magic powers. Kyle's introduced in the first episode as the most powerful preteen wizard on the planet. After he made his dramatic entrance, no one but Fanboy and Chum were interested. After he sat down, he met Fanboy and Chum for the first time, and they were completely skeptical of his magic, and thought he was a normal boy pretending to be a wizard. He later watches Fanboy pretending to be a wizard, and is completely unimpressed by his magic. At lunch he plays... Oh, dang. That's gonna cost me a couple seconds. At lunch, he plans to summon a griffin when, after Fanboy uses fake spellbook, chants the incantation. After Kyle accidentally delevitates into Loop's lunch, he gets punched and challenges Fanboy to a wizard off. During that, Chum faints from seeing Fanboy's cut-off finger trick, and due to seeing them distracted after a revival after a revival went wrong, Kyle went entirely insane and possesses an energy sphere armed to rough them up. But before he could get the attack out, the griffin Fanboy summoned earlier carried him away. The end scene showed Fanboy decide to play wizard with Kyle all day tomorrow, while Kyle shouts, "No, I won't," in the distance. During the episode, Kyle showed absolutely no interest in Fanboy and Chum's company. Later on, Kyle starts to get used to his surroundings. He is now interested in having conversations with Fanboy and Chum. The first episode to show that matter was The Janitor Strikes Back. Kyle is usually interested in them, but other times he gets extremely annoyed by them and insults them often. They do not know this, but they show they're sorry for him and care for him a lot. Kyle also usually tones his negative traits down when there is an emergency or for other reasons. As the series goes, Kyle's relationship with Fanboy and Chum seems to larger, and gets mad and yells at them less. Okay, that's a typo. He also seems to return his feelings to them and entertain them, as shown in Cold War and Lord of the Rings, beginning with the episode Sigmund the Sorcerer. Kyle is usually much more friendly and less angry to them. Personality: Kyle is smart, free-spirited, and sometimes bossy. He is known to be smart most of the time and studies a lot. He is also a great musician and knows how to play every instrument. Kyle also has a big mind and knows the name of every person he meets. This may be why his head is abnormally large. Physical appearance: Kyle has red hair and very large front teeth with braces, and he speaks in a British accent. At his current appearance as a preteen, Kyle's head is shown to be abnormally large, somewhat shaped like a light bulb. He also has strands of hair on top of his head, sticking down from both sides of his head, and at the top, 2 smaller strands stick up and curl downwards. His face also has a set of freckles. Both of his cheeks have 3, while the bridge of his nose has 4. He also appears to be strongly pale-skinned. Kyle's appearance changed as he grew older. As an infant, he had a bib with red and yellow stripes and a yellow fluffy edge. His hair had a curl on the right side and giant eyelashes. He also had a slight blush. As of now, he wears a striped rugby shirt with red and yellow stripes like the bib he wore as an infant. The sleeves reach down to the middle of his forearms, and at the neck is a yellow turn of a collar. He also wears dark grayish blue pencil thin jeans and dark red high-top sneakers, along with a silky black cape that reaches down to the middle of his shins. He also bears a resemblance to Reggie Lynn Pockets, one of the toddler characters from Season 2. Relationships: Fanboy. Fanboy is the latest friend to Kyle. Kyle is shown to dislike Fanboy a lot, and this frequently happens in the first half of Season 1, and a few episodes of the second half, and a few episodes of Season 2. He is shown to avoid him more than Chum. The main reason Kyle dislikes Fanboy is because he's dim-witted and can be crazy towards him, but Fanboy is unaware of this, and thus his behavior continues to annoy him. However, Kyle can show sympathy towards Fanboy, and when he's in a good mood, he's kind to him. The start of the day Kyle first met him, Fanboy was the first to talk to Kyle, and the first to believe he's claiming to be a wizard. This later led to Fanboy pretending to be a wizard himself, and Kyle trying to show him the real thing. Kyle talks to Fanboy for most of the time. Later on, the final blow came to him when he decides to challenge Fanboy to a wizard off to end this once and for all. But right in the middle of the challenge, Fanboy causes Chum to faint, and during a hilarious sticky reviving situation, Kyle decides to use his power to char Fanboy along with Chum to stuck to him. But right before he can get the spell out, a griffin flies down and takes him away, which turns out to be the one Fanboy summoned. Kyle is soon heard saying, "No, I won't," as Fanboy says he will play wizards with Kyle all day the next day. This is from the episode Wizboy. When Kyle was late to erase the blackboard one day, he lost his attention to Fanboy, who performed an erase dance, which made Fanboy the Eraserer, which was the title Kyle had. Kyle resorted to revenge and conjured a magic eraser that literally erases anything. After calling Fanboy over, he lied and said he had forgotten to give him the eraser he conjured, and hoped for the worst when the eraser literally erased the board. But instead of punishment, Hank and the class praise it, because if there is no blackboard, Hank doesn't have to teach. Kyle watches Fanboy's erasing spree and plans more revenge. After scaring off everyone else with a tornado, he literally attaches the eraser to Fanboy's hand, meaning that whatever he will reach for will be erased. This was the most horrible thing to happen to Fanboy. However, that when he begs to Kyle for help, he accidentally erases Kyle's body and tries to hand him his wand to fix things, but then erases it when it's learning it's dirty. He does the same to Kyle's spare wand. As a result, Fanboy and Chum had to draw an animal's body with permanent marker onto Kyle until further notice. It is unknown whether Fanboy still has the eraser position or Kyle took it back after the episode was over. Speed Eraser. While on the field trip to the Dinosaur Museum, Kyle was Fanboy and Chum buddy and had to follow their rules. Upon refusing to be part of their buddy system, Kyle turns himself invisible, which puts him in danger and leaves Fanboy and Chum worried. Fanboy later turned into a caveman due to getting too much sun and breaks Kyle's wand, which is the ticket out. Fanboy bonked Kyle on the head, knocking him out, and fought over Chum to see who has him as a buddy. When Fanboy snapped out later on, he heard Kyle say help through the walkie-talkie and met up with him with Chum in tow. Upon only coming for him, Fanboy declares that they're getting eaten and do one last buddy up. The dinosaur they met, though, decided to be their buddy, leaving Fanboy to tell Kyle he was right that the buddy system could save his life. They have fun with the dinosaur, but the cliff breaks and they crash their school bus. Kyle is then ejected from Fanboy and Chum's buddy system, and he has to ride in the dinosaur's mouth with a different buddy and an old skull. Buddy up. Chum is another one of the latest friends to Kyle. Like Fanboy, Kyle dislikes him, but sometimes likes him. This is probably due to the fact that Chum can be less annoying than Fanboy and can be sweet sometimes. Kyle can also be calm around Chum and usually feels sorry for him. When Chum showed Kyle pictures of his gum friend Yum Yum, he wished that Kyle had a friend made out of gum. Kyle turns to him and tells him about his newly conjured Scrivener elf, I don't know, which helps him with his studies, and even dashed off 3 book reports in the time to make him porridge. Chum also adds that Yum Yum farts bubbles. The janitor strikes back. Hank Muffin. Although Kyle's relationship with Hank has been a little strained at first, he somewhat became Hank's star student. Hank first thought he was a screwball like Fanboy and Chum and he had to sit with them, which he declined. Kyle sometimes has his attention turned away from him when Hank starts not to listen to him. Also, he appears to have more stars than any other student, as told by Hank's gold star chart. Also, Kyle was Hank's former class eraserer before Fanboy took over. Wizboy, the book reporter of the dead speed eraser, norsing around. Scrivener Elf. As Kyle's trusted advisor, Scrivener Elf is Kyle's right-hand man on his adventures. He's usually annoyed at Kyle, but also does what he says, like taking notes and doing homework. Scrivener Elf not only works for Kyle, but he sometimes ditches the wizard to work for Professor Flan. But Kyle treats Scrivener Elf as a servant, and he demands things hardly. Even though he is annoyed, he listens to Kyle a lot and even helps Kyle out. Mostly he ignores Kyle to focus on other things, like conga dancing and bathing. Necronomicon. Necronomicon is known to be Kyle's trusted spellbook and advisor. He keeps all the spells for Kyle handy, and even produces new ones. He also takes diagnoses for Kyle when he's sick. Sometimes Necronomicon is annoyed by Kyle, like Scrivener Elf does. He usually calls Kyle by name, but in later episodes he also refers to him as Conjurer, hence his type. Necronomicon is a loyal helper. Sigmund. As Kyle's longtime rival since Milkweed Academy, Sigmund seems to be always showing Kyle up. They have been enemies since a mishap in magic class. When they met with each other again, Kyle lies and tells Sigmund he is more skilled than him, and round up revealing the truth. Although they are enemies, the wizards sometimes show their soft side once in a while. Skills and abilities. Magic. Kyle is described as the most powerful preteen wizard on the planet, declaring that he is an expert in magic. He dedicates himself to studying it in Milkweed Academy. The first episode is magic was completely a skeptic to Fanboy and Chum, and he tries to prove he's real. Wizard magic is strong and important to him, and that's why he proves he's not a fake. He usually carries a bronze-colored stick-like magic wand when spellcasting. When he uses it, a special sound effect is heard, usually a rising and descending whoop sound. It's said that Kyle keeps his wand as a secret pouch on the cape on his back. The wand also got taken away, or he lost it in the episodes Wizboy Saving Private, Chum's Kids in the Hall, or Field Trip of Horrors. Due to being a wizard, he has spellcasting powers, and he demonstrated a wide variety of spells. Main article list of Kyle's spells. He's known to be an excellent magician can use real magic rather than magician's magic, as shown in the episodes Lord of the Rings and Present Not Accounted For. He can also manipulate energy, as shown in Wizboy when he created the blue energy sphere. According to his magic show in Present Not Accounted For, Kyle is going to summon a minotaur and have it sing Barbershop Quartet. But in the completed episode, he summons a dragon and paint everyone's names on fire. I can't do it any longer. Somebody please finish what I started. No, I have to do it. I can't. I can't do. I just died.